wanted to share with you guys a few things to think about before you start building your house or working on whatever project you might be working on. We started this project way before we started moving dirt. There's a lot that has to go on before you can even start thinking about digging a hole for a foundation. In North Idaho, we're here in Bonner County, and we're in the county. So Bonner County Code is what applies to us. One of the things that we had to do is start with a building location permit. Now that's a little bit different than in what you might find in most areas. The building location permit has you looking at the location of the structure in regards to other terrain features like water, that could be a pond or a stream, and it also has to do with looking at the topography. And as you can see, this site has a lot of topography, which is why we're having to do so much excavation to create a flat spot to set the house. The first thing we did was to get a hold of a surveyor and have him come out and survey the property lines. We asked the surveyor to put a survey pin, which is a lath stake with a ribbon on it, every 25 feet along the property line. That would give us an easy indication of exactly where the property line was and help us to set the house exactly where we wanted it to be in relationship to the property lines. Now, we have 10 acres, which gives us a lot of wiggle room, but if you had a smaller parcel, say 1 acre or less, you would definitely want to survey not only the property lines, but survey the site exactly. The way we've done that in the past is typically to do offset stakes of exactly where we want the foundation, say 10 foot, and that way we can dig right up to the corner of the foundation and beyond the corner of the foundation, and always have that lath stake or that pin that we can measure off of to make sure that we're digging exactly in the right location. Now, on this particular foundation, we were able to just mark the property lines and then lay out the foundation and then dig right to a line, knowing that once we overdug everything, we would be able to come back and lay out the foundation inside the hole, and that would allow for the footing foundation guys to build the foundation exactly where we wanted it to be. With the survey work done, we had a clear understanding of exactly where the property lines were, but we also had the survey information that we could take to the engineer, who could put together an erosion control plan for us. In Bonner County, that's something that's required to make sure that if you have a storm event during construction, that all of the sediment would remain on your property and not impact either a neighbor's property or potentially get into stream system or water systems that would create problems downstream from your project. It also allowed the engineer to look at our elevations and topography with that survey information and help us design the cuts and fills for our footing and foundation, making sure that we could put the entire footing down on native soil and that we had good bearing for the entire structure. It also allowed us to look at the wall heights and figure out where we should make the steps in the foundation wall. Once we had this information and design put together, we were able to take that into the county and apply for a building location permit. They were able to look at the property, look at the setbacks, look and see if there was anything like utility easements or access easements or other easements where we wanted to put the house, helping to protect us from accidentally putting the house on top of a gas line or a utility easement or road easement that could get us in trouble down the road. We had a great experience working with Bonner County planning staff. They were really good at explaining the process and helping us get the information that they needed in order to move this project forward. Once we had the building location permit, they asked us to stake out exactly where we wanted the house, and then sent out one of the compliance officers to visually inspect the property lines and the location of the house to make sure that we were meeting the setbacks. We were able to ask a bunch of questions. They were very knowledgeable, and we appreciated making sure that we weren't doing something now that was going to get us in trouble later. When their structure is complete, the compliance officer will return to verify that we built what we said we were going to build and that we've built it in the location that we said we were going to build it. It was interesting working with the planning staff, talking to them about some of the fees that are required for the building location permit. One of those fees is the impact fees, something that anybody buying property should consider is what those building permits might cost, but also what impact fees might cost you. And we're located in Northside Fire District, which is our local fire district, and they have impact fees. Our local Northside fire impact fees were $785 per dwelling, or 39 cents per square foot for anything that isn't residential. In comparison, another local fire district is Spirit Lake Fire District, and they are $1,725 per dwelling and 86 cents per square foot for anything that's not residential. More than double in the same county, but just in a different fire district. So as you're shopping around looking for a piece of property to buy, it's important to understand the total cost of the property, not just the cost of the real estate. People have asked me whether they should buy their house plans online or go to an architect and sit down and draw a custom house plan. On this particular house, I did both. We went to an architect and sat down, spent a lot of time and a lot of money drawing a custom house plan, only to find out that that custom house plan was not going to work well with this particular piece of property. So we were back to the drawing board. Do we go and revise the plan and spend a bunch more time and a bunch more money, or do we just get online and see if we can find something that works, understanding that we would be able to do some adjustments on interior walls down the road if we absolutely had to. So the decision was made to get online and spend $800 on a house that would work. So people ask me, how much do my plans cost? I tell them that I spent about $15,000 on the first set and $800 on the final set. Sitting down with the architect was not a complete loss. We learned a lot about what we wanted in the house, about the layout that we were looking for, about things that were important to us and things that weren't important to us. We learned about where mechanical rooms should sit. We learned about stacking utilities on top of each other and how that layout should work. When I say stacking utilities, I mean a bathroom in the basement should line up with a bathroom on the main floor, which should line up with a bathroom upstairs. And the laundry room should do the same, as well as mechanical rooms. It's not a big deal, but it will make things much easier for your mechanical contractors, meaning your plumber, electrician, HVAC guys, to line things up without having to zigzag back and forth across the house. As I said earlier, Bonner County requires a building location permit, which means they're only looking at the location of the structure. They don't come out and look at any of the structural elements of the house. Now, we did have our house plans engineered, and we worked closely with several engineers. I would always encourage people to work with a good engineer, and when in doubt, always overbuild. My wife gets after me all the time because I love to overbuild and over-engineer things. But 30 years of experience has taught me that you are much better to overbuild than to have to repair things. And that means that things might be a little more expensive up front. Overdoing things usually does cost more money. But if it saves you the headache and hassle of repairs or other issues that might come from underbuilding something, it is totally worth it. It's our hope to be able to get the excavation done, to be able to get the footing poured and the foundation poured, and then get the French drains installed along with the waterproofing on the foundation, and then backfill before winter sets in. That way we can come out swinging next spring, starting early on the framing, and have a long summer season for framing up the house. We'll see how that plan goes.